Everybody was enthusiastic about it, Germany, everybody, and Spain didn't do it. And now Spain actually said that we can't use their bases, and that's all right. We could use their base if we want. We could just fly in and use it. Nobody's going to tell us not to use it, but we don't have to. But they were unfriendly, and so I told him we don't want to. Spain has absolutely nothing that we need other than great people. They have great people, but they don't have great leadership. And as you know, they were the only country that in NATO would not agree to go up to 5%. I don't think they would have agreed to go up to anything. They wanted to keep it at 2%, and they don't pay the 2%. So we're going to cut off all trade with Spain. We don't want anything to do with Spain.
Now, there was something that Trump said. I believe it was 6 years ago. And it was still about discussing the situation with NATO and the US. And he basically said that when it comes to NATO, America would be there for its allies. 100%. Like, America will always be there. But he doesn't know if the allies would be there for America. Now, in the last couple of years, we actually noticed that one of the main reasons that the European Union had tensions with America was specifically over the situation in Ukraine. Now, despite the fact that that Russia hasn't attacked NATO, the European nations wanted America to give weapons to Ukraine. And to be honest, America did, so much so to the point that Donald Trump was actually starting to fall in the approval polls because he was actually giving a lot of weapons and aid to Ukraine. So anyway, the idea is that when it does come to America to help Europe, well, Trump has done so. But recently in Spain, you have a socialist government. And the socialist government decided to basically tell America that, no, you can't use our bases if you want to attack Iran. Now, I kind of understand why they said that. And it's because they imported a lot of people from the Middle East. And when you import a lot of people from the Middle East, you also import their grievances, their problems, and their politics. And so a lot of European nations are absolutely terrified over the conflict in Iran, not because they genuinely care about the people in Iran or that they're worried that America may lose. They are upset because they believe that they will have terrorist attacks in their nations. They're afraid that they will have uprisings in their nations, right? So this is what's happening in Britain as well. Keir Starmer is legitimately worried that he may see an uprising of Muslims in the UK over the stuff that's happening in the Middle East. And this is why they're really terrified of Donald Trump and America's foreign policy. It's not that they genuinely care about Iran. They probably don't even know where it is on the map. They don't even know what an Ayatollah is. But they are aware that they have imported large number of Middle Eastern people in their countries without vetting them, without checking for them, right? And so what the far right was saying for the last couple of decades, that if you import people without vetting them, you may end up with a couple of terrorists. And at the time, that was a conspiracy theory. Now it seems to have become a concern. But regardless, when the United States basically told Europe, yeah, we want to use the bases, our bases, the American bases in Europe. We want to use them in order to conduct operations in the Middle East. Most nations said yes. Even the Germans, were basically, you know what, now it's time to shut the fuck up and let Americans do what they have to do. You had Merz basically making a similar statement, right? The UK was pussyfooting around the issue. They're like, oh, well, we don't know. Well, okay, maybe. Well, you don't know, right? So, they weren't sure because, they took, a huge number of immigrants. But Spain was, definitely no. Spain was no, not having it. No, the Americans cannot use their bases. And so this caused the ire of Donald Trump, which needs to send a message. Anyone that actually watches how Donald Trump operates, it's pretty much like a Roman consul, right? It's he cares a lot about optics and respect, not to him personally, but to America. And so if you basically have America asking you to behave like an ally and you don't behave like an ally, then Trump is going to wonder, well, if we allow this, if we allow Spain to get away with it, what's to stop other allies repeating what Spain is doing if they notice there's no consequence, right? Because like weakness invites aggression. And so now he is like forced to take measures against Spain. He has no choice. He's boxed in. And the measures that he's going to take seems to be a complete economic embargo. Now, I don't know what Spain buys from America. I don't know what America buys from Spain. But I'm also curious if this embargo is going to also include social media. That would be hilarious. And by the way, like, social media in 2026 can bring a nation to ruin. Australia, back in the day when they tried to tax Facebook for a link tax, Facebook just pulled out of Australia. It took a couple of weeks for the Australian government to beg Facebook to come back, because a lot of businesses and a lot of infrastructure, even like the government, require social media to function in a modern society. And so if Donald Trump was basically ordering, like, let's say Google, YouTube, Twitter, like all the other social media to block Spain, the economic damage would be quite significant. Again, I don't know like if the boycott will include social media. It remains to be seen. But it would definitely be a very strong move. Now, the Spanish government is basically hiding behind the European Union. They're basically saying that Trump needs to abide by EU-US diplomatic relations. Now, in a way, that's kind of true, right? Because as a nation, when you sign agreements, you have to follow them, right? Like, you signed them. No one forced you to. So, like, if you signed an agreement, you have to honor it. The thing is, though, like, from what I've noticed, is that the Trump administration has some extremely good lawyers. And they're very talented people. And so I'm pretty sure they can find a way that they will still follow their contracts for the EU while at the same time still fucking with Spain. So, like, they don't have to worry about that. Because, like, yes, the Americans, they do have, like, agreements with the EU and they do have to follow them. Like, even if Trump, like, legally can, for example, decide to boycott Spain, if Trump himself has signed agreements with the EU and he chooses not to honor them, then that influences a lot of negative ratings from the US in the international community. They become untrustworthy. Like other banks and institutions stuff. There's like a whole thing. But again, like he has lawyers and he has ways of figuring out how to deal with Spain and how to hurt them while still maintaining good relationships with the EU. And from what I've noticed, like, despite the fact that the European Union constantly does a lot of mad talk and they talk a lot of shit about Donald Trump, they still need the Americans. Like, without the Americans, the Europeans would actually have to start their own army, and the Europeans have already taxed their population to the limit, that if they were to also add another army tax, like that's a big oof. And so, again, Germany, and other European nations, Poland especially, like they don't want to abandon the United States. Like they definitely view the US as allies. They don't give a fuck about the Middle East. They generally don't care about Iran. In fact, like an Iran that's more allied to the West is more beneficial for Europe. And so they don't care. But Spain has decided to go alone. And the reason that Spain is going alone is because it's far from Russia, right? So like they're not afraid that the Russians are going to invade them anytime soon, which is why they don't really care about NATO that much either. So because they're in the European Union, they view themselves protected by the EU umbrella. And so this is why they're basically playing hardball with the American, because they're thinking like, well, what are they going to do to us? Nothing, right? Like they're thinking that they're in a safe position. We'll see if that's true. I don't think so. Again, like I definitely believe that the Trump administration, they have made it a priority to not lose face in the international community. Like they are governing from a position of strength, and they get to do whatever they want. And when someone challenges them, they make an example. So we'll see what happens. I'm actually really interested. Let me know what you guys think, though. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.